This is a speaker meeting. Our speaker will share his experience, strength, and hope for approximately 45 minutes. We ask out of respect for our speaker to please remain seated until he has finished. And this speaker is, so he is our previous secretary. I've had some big shoes to fill because he's a good man. So help me welcome Greg.
My name's Greg. I'm an alcoholic. And this isn't going away. I tell you. Just want to let you know that as far as today, me being the speaker, there's usually a plan A speaker, right? And then there's like a plan B speaker. I think I'm Z, okay? It was like, Mike called me up. I was down in Scottsdale at like 2 o'clock. Hey, can you speak tonight? I'm like, it's one of those days like where I think my day is going to go a certain way, and then God comes in and goes, not so much, and here I are. But because I told him, I says, you know what, don't worry about it. Tell John I will be there. Because one of the principles I learned was you suit up and you show up, and I need to be of service, period. It ain't what I think. Do I want to do it? No, I got this mind. Please, come on, give me a break, man. I'm going to read. I'm going to start. This is the good news, or maybe the bad news, depending upon what happens tonight. I have no idea where I'm going with this thing, because I didn't even think about it. Didn't want to. I apologize. I normally would have shaved. I wouldn't have the helmet hair. I was riding motorcycles, man. I mean. But anyway, there's this prayer. It says, check this out. This will make more sense at the end of the pitch. Okay. Dear God, I have no idea where I'm going. I do not see the road ahead of me. I cannot know for certain where it will end. Nor do I really know myself. And the fact that I think I am following your will does not mean that I am actually doing so. But I believe this. I believe that the desire to please you does in fact please you. I hope I have that desire in everything I do. I hope I never persist in anything apart from that desire. And I know that if I do this, you will lead me by the right road. Though I may know nothing about it at the time. Therefore I will trust you always, for though I may seem to be lost and in the shadow of death, I will not be afraid. Because I know you will never leave me to face my troubles all alone. Amen. It's written by this guy named Thomas Merton, who is this Benedictine. I think he was a Benedictine. He was a monk. And just this amazing guy. I read his stuff every day. Yeah, this is cool, man. So, get the details out of the way. My sobriety date is January 10th, 1989, so I'm 32 years sober. I have a sponsor. His name is Richard Ballesteros. He's been my sponsor since I came in. I asked him to sponsor me when I was drunk one fine evening, and that's a story for another time. But so Rich has been my sponsor since I've been sober. And the way it's going to change is whoever dies first, either him or me. And that's the kind of an agreement we have. Yeah, man, I mean, here I am sitting there talking to you guys. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. Like one of the things that's pretty cool is, nor do I really know myself, right? Does that sound familiar? I don't know if that sounds familiar. I thought I knew myself. I'm a pretty hip, slick, and cool guy. Maybe have a little drinking problem, but other than that, I'm just fine. Thank you very much. And I got sober I'm not going to go down the war stories road because it's just, you didn't come here on a winning streak, neither did I. So we're clear on that. So I got sober in Pasadena, California at this place called Grandview Foundation. Does anybody know Grandview? Any Pasadenians out there? No. Ooh, we got one. Cool. And they had this little exercise for all the spun monkey newcomers that we were. They're saying, so who are you? Right? And a lot of people say, well, when people ask that question, who are you? Many people define themselves by, oftentimes not by who they are, but by what they do for a living. Well, I'm in construction, or I work on car shielding. It's like, no, 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 no. Who are you? Who are you? I don't really know myself. And I don't know how this came about, but I had the foresight at that time to be able to say, I don't know anything, but I do know one thing. I know I'm an alcoholic. And I think that's a starting point. Little did I know that that was true, because we have certain traits that carry over into this day. I mean, I got this mind, okay? I don't know if this may sound familiar to you guys, but I took my bike to the dealer today to get some work done on it, and it's wonderful. Just total luxury problems. And but I got this mind, like at 1 o'clock in the morning, I've already figured out how this isn't going to work, how the guy is not going to have the parts, or he's going to screw things up, and I'm not going to get my bike, or I'm going to be stuck down there, and my wife will have to pick me up, but she won't be around, so that I'll be stuck in Scottsdale. Oh my God, you know? And then I know myself enough to go, wow, here we go again with this thing, this mind of mine that's like, I'm in bed. Maybe I should stay where my feet are, you know, like in bed. But I've already got things figured out how things are going to get all screwed up. And I mean, I couldn't help it here. It's like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I'm laughing at myself going, wow. Just relax, Greg, and just maybe get on the motorcycle and just ride down there and see what. Now, I don't know if that sounds familiar, but I got that kind of mind. That's the kind of mind I have. You know, I got this mind that's always finding fault with everything. It's a mind that's never satisfied. It's a mind that maybe you come into the program and you're new. Man, I need a job. I'll do anything for a job. God, I hope I can get some employment. Then you get some employment, and it's pretty good. You go, oh, I got a job. It's great. And then within about 30 to 45 days, you know, these people are kind of running a pretty shoddy outfit here. And after about 45 to 60 days, it's like, you know, I cannot believe the amount they should be paying me more. I should be running this joint. What is wrong with these people? You know, as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go tell them, you know. And then you wonder why you got fired. You know, what? So that kind of thing. Or like, you know, you get a car, and it's maybe your first car that you've ever owned. Maybe it's a car that's got a few dings on it, you know, or maybe it's a brand new car, right? And then 90 days later, the thing's a piece of crap. And that's alcoholism. That's the kind of mind I've got. And it doesn't go away, man. I mean, I tell you, it really doesn't. I just know myself a little better because of these principles, you know, that we talk about all the time. They keep talking about, they use it, you know, principles. They use that all the time. You know, the idea of even the 12th tradition. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place. And everybody goes, principles, personality. And I think that's thrilling, but the thing is, do you guys even know what that means? Do you? You know, I do, because I paid attention to this stuff, you know. Principles before personalities, all that does is it levels the playing field. And anonymity means that I'm not a big shot. I'm just another drunk in this room, just like you. And if I practice these principles, it'll keep my personality to a low roar. Because one of the traits that we all share, they found out, it's in this pesky book of secrets, in the 12 and 12. There was a bunch of doctors that wanted to find out, well, rather than go to my mind, maybe I should read it. You know, what a novel idea. It's funny how, let's see here. Maybe I won't find it. Oh, here it is. Man, that small print. Man, I'm getting old. Anyway, a bunch of doctors made an exhaustive study of a good-sized group of so-called problem drinkers. The doctors, this is page 122 and 123 in the 12 and 12, step 12. The doctors weren't trying to find out how different we were from one another. They sought to find out whatever personality traits, if any, this group of alcoholics had in common. They finally came up with a conclusion that shocked the AA members of that time. These distinguished men had the nerve to say that most of the alcoholics under investigation were still childish, emotionally sensitive, and grandiose. Wow, what a shocker, you know. To be grandiose is to just inflate everything, like I said. I'm going to go to a motorcycle dealer to get it worked on, but before you know it, I've got it figured out how nothing's going to work right now, and being, just an absolute baby, king baby that is, thank you very much. There are traits about king baby, you should look that up too. Point is that what happened, this is the hard part about this program, that is, it talks about it in the big book and in the 12 and 12, that I warped my mind behind drugs and alcohol. And you cannot unwarp a warped mind. You cannot unwarp a warped LP, record, for those of you who are older, right? I warped my mind behind drugs and alcohol, so I don't see the world right. I mean, even to this day, it's the idea is that a great definition of alcoholism is a distorted perception of judgment. I don't see this world right. I see it twisted, man. I just do, left to my own devices. So, but one of the things that's cool that I found out in these rooms is that there's other people that are doing the same thing like me. They're all twisted up too. I'm like, wow. But they're not, they're in a place where they're doing something about it. They're trying to practice some of these principles to the best of their ability for the day they're in, right? And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, because no matter how I looked at it, I came to these rooms not like by any virtue. It was like, I think I'm going to become an alcoholic. There wasn't anything like that. It was like, my ass was falling off and you guys had the glue to put it back on. And, well, there was also DUIs were also a very motivating. Please sign this, I've got some drinking to do. I mean, I got an older brother he's been sober. God, he's coming up on 39 years, Chris Willing, and so I was exposed to these rooms for 7 years, but I never tried it. I never even gave it a shot. Signed my court card. Screw you. I've got some drinking I need to get done. If that sounds familiar, well, you're not alone. But I couldn't help notice that all these folks in the room, or some old idiot like me up at the podium, is just talking about how wonderful his life is. And I couldn't help but notice, it's like, they're not lying. What's going on? These people they're talking all this stuff like they're chronic alcoholics, big drunks, big drug addicts, right? But they're not drinking, they're not using drugs, and they're really happy. And what in the hell is that all about? And they say, well, just don't drink or use no matter what. Oh, sure, yeah, I'll just put it down. It's no big deal. I couldn't do that. I was telling him, one of my buddies, anyway, would say, I can't not drink. Much as I might try, I can't stop. Because if all of us could be in this place where we just, whatever substance is giving us trouble, if we just put it down and walk the other way, and there would be no room for this. We wouldn't need these rooms, would we? But, spun out people like us keep coming back because we're grandiose, because we're childish, because we're emotionally sensitive, because we have an allergy to this stuff, right? I mean, even other substances, right? Other substances, I know this isn't Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, but other substances, maybe you're going to go see the dope man, okay? And you can taste it. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Don't tell me that. You better raise your hand or I'll say a room full of liars, because you can taste it. That is an allergy. That's a serious allergy, man. Going to maybe think, I'm going to get some whiskey, man, and I can taste that whiskey before I even, it triggers that thing in me. And once I take that drink, the obsession guarantees that I can't stop. And it came from a place of a history of my drinking and using that, like the old timer says, man, I take the drink, or I take the drug takes me. I take the drink takes me. I can't guarantee what's going to happen. Well, let me back up. I think I can guarantee what's going to happen. It's probably not going to be good, because my life was one of these, like, it was going along okay, but then just slowly but perceptibly, just started this slow nosedive, you know. And and I knew it wasn't going to get any better. You know, I was driven here by circumstance rather than virtue. I was driven here because I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't quit drinking on my own. I couldn't stop taking drugs on my own. Maybe that's why you're here. By the way, I want to give out some shout outs to Brent. Happy birthday, my brother. I love you, man. It's a big deal. Because when I came in, when I moved to this area, you were pretty new. You were kind of spun, bro. But now you're just like, yeah. Hey, I was him. I'm just like looking in the mirror. I'm not judging him. That's me. Right? I mean, anytime I look at somebody and see the character defects in somebody, okay, how would I know the character defects that you possess unless I possess them myself? Damn it, that alcoholism. Stuff's a pain in the neck, right? And then Vic, dude, I'm glad you're here, bro. Thank God, because, you know, over the years, I got black coat on, black pants and all that stuff, and they told me when I came in, you know, you need to get a black suit because you're going to go to a lot of funerals, and they were right. I mean, some of my friends where I used to work, normal guys, Jesse and Tim, Sandy, you know, they knew my alcoholic deal because I've been doing this thing as if my life depended upon it all these years, because it does. And so they got to become very familiar with what I do. The service work, working with sponsees, going to meetings, being a secretary, being a GSR. I've done all that stuff. Made coffee, cake guy, you know, literature guy, whatever. And they go, man, you deal with death all the time, don't you? And I go, yeah, all the time. Man, there's people dropping like flies out there right now, you know? I mean, when I got sober, they took us to places like County General USC in downtown LA, right by East Los, right? And you know what I'm talking about. Fucking Los Doyers, man, I got you. So they'd go, hey, let's go see some chronic alcoholics dying. Oh boy, hey, where do I sign up? You know, didn't want to do that, but they're going, no, come on. And you'd see these people, you know, dying, and freaking, they're dying. What's going on with them? They're dying of chronic alcoholism right now. Or we go to this place, it was called Harbor Light. Not Safe Harbor Light, it's Harbor Light. And that was on 5th Street in Los Angeles at the end of the street. So you talk about the last house on the block. They used to call AA the last house on the block. That place was really the last house on the block. And we go there and had this green tint to it that looked a lot like county jail. I'm going, I know this color very well. And, you know, going in there and just seeing some of these people, man, that, wow. I get to see what happens, man, how this disease just ravages people. You know, when I used to do a lot of hospitals and institutions work, H&I. The first one I ever did, I don't know, I spent somewhere between a year and 18 months, and I knew this guy's name was Bicycle Bud. We got these great nicknames in AA, like Cheap Suit Dan, remember Dan? Yeah. You know, yeah, I love that stuff. So old Bicycle Bud says, hey, told me about, there's this thing called H&I where you go out there and you carry the message to the next suffering alcoholic. And I go, okay, I'm in, man, because I quit fighting. Step 2 stuff, I quit fighting. I'm like, if it's going to help me stay sober, I'm in, whatever. And, and I go, where is it? He goes, it's in a lockdown psych ward. And I looked at him, I go, are you serious? And he goes, oh yeah, lockdown psych ward. And I'll tell you one thing, Greg. And I go, what's that? He goes, you're not going to drink that night. He was right, man. I've done other lockdown psych wards with these people. Their spring got sprung one too many times, because I tell you, man, I'm talking about the gritty nature of this disease. Like my friend Pat Knox, you know Pat. For those of you who are relapsers, and there's a lot of us, you know, I am not one of them. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. A lot of us are. And Pat said many years ago, it was around Christmas time, we were at Purvis's house having dinner, a bunch of sober alcoholics. And he says, every time you go out and you drink and use drugs, it's like you have a little stroke. And one time or the other, you may not quite come back from it. It's funny, but it's absolutely tragic and so goddamn true. There, I did cuss. But I meant that. I meant to use that word because I hate this goddamn disease. That's why I'm here tonight. Because I don't want to be that guy that has a lot of years and not enough days. I've seen it. One of my friends, man, Kevin K. You know, jeez Louise. We were in LA at the CA meeting. CA meeting, and Kevin gets, anybody 30 days? Kevin raises his hand, and he had like 4 years more than me. And I looked at Kevin, and he told me his story after the meeting. It was one of those things where he got married and life is going good. He had 2 girls, then he had another couple of kids with that other lady, God bless her. And everything was going good, and then, I haven't had a drink for a long time. I think I'm doing quite well. As a matter of fact, I think I've got a handle on this. I don't think I need those meetings anyway. Who wants to hang out with a bunch of drunks? This thing just starts talking, so all of a sudden, maybe my life isn't so unmanageable. As a matter of fact, I think I can do this, So he was at a business lunch. He's a lawyer, and he's at a business lunch, and he ordered a virgin margarita. And that's a dumbass drink. Help me out, folks. A virgin margarita. Excuse me, okay? So he orders it, comes to his table, takes a sip of it. It is not a virgin margarita. It is, it had booze in it. He took a sip of it and kept going. And I know Kevin, and he's just one of us, man. He's a good drunk, so he had to go to the bathroom, and on the way to the bathroom, he had a shot at the bar of tequila, and on the way back from going to the bathroom, he had another. Off and running. 4 years later, he made it back. 4 years later, he had 29 years. So it doesn't really matter. This disease is no respecter of. When I got sober, this old timer says, hey, you know what? When you get 50 years, you can have a beer. I said, really? And he goes, no, you idiot. I'm just making that up. I believed him. You get 50 years and you can have the obligatory 50-year beer or some such shit, It's crazy. Oh, my God. And then there's the other one, man. Check this out. I ride motorcycles with sober men in sober motorcycle clubs. Been doing it for over 20 years. We have so much fun. You just would not believe it. Just love my boys. And some of the guys in another club were drinking the near beers. Not near beers. That's what it was when I got sober. The O'Douls, right? And they were drinking that. Some of the fellas had a problem with that stuff. It's like, that's kind of old behavior, man. Maybe you're at a social event with a bunch of sober drunks and addicts and all this stuff, and maybe you're going to have a couple, 3 of O'Douls. It's kind of old behavior. And some of the other fellas, some of the other brothers are going, hey, this is no big deal, man. There's more, here comes my alcoholism, there's more booze in orange juice than there is in an O'Doul's. There's more booze in a loaf of bread, sugar alcohols, than there is in an O'Doul's. And one of the brothers comes by, and there was a whole group of guys talking about getting a little bit pissed at each other, like, you shouldn't be doing that. Hey, back off, type of that. And Patrick comes walking up, and he goes, hey, you know what? Non-alcoholic beer is for non-alcoholics. Oh, that just killed the conversation right there. Non-alcoholic beer is for non-alcoholics. Get it? So if you're ever thinking about, I think, because when I got sober, what if you're having a bad day, man? Now, when I got sober, they had this stuff called near beer, and it was awful. Tasted terrible. So what if you're having a bad day and you're having your near beer, and then you think it's a really good idea, screw this, give me the Budweiser. It can happen just like that, and I don't want to test those waters. I'm a pretty sharp alcoholic. I drank in O'Doul's. I had a mouthful of O'Doul's. I think I was 3 years sober, and it tasted like this beer that I was used to drinking, this Czech beer, and I just I drank this stuff and just freaked out, man. I mean, I'm not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer, so I'm like, what do I do? So I called my friend Bill. I called Bill Derry. And I go, Bill, I just had a sip of O'Doul's, and I think I felt like I went out. What do I do? And he goes, you didn't go out? And he goes, you know what you do with the O'Doul's? And I go, no, what? And he goes, don't drink it. Wow. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. That was my only time with that stuff. I just don't. When I came in here, I don't know what I didn't know, but I did. Even though I didn't know this, I had a clear understanding of the first step. I knew I was powerless over alcohol. Man, I'd proven it to myself over and over and over again. I take a drink, the drink takes me. Can't guarantee what's going to happen. It's probably going to be bad. The unmanageability of my life was becoming very apparent to me. Like one fine day, passing out at work. Don't do it, okay? Don't try that at home or on the job. So what happened was I came to on a couch, thought it was Saturday morning, coming off one, a real heavy one, coming off one really cool, yeah. Then come to realize this is not Saturday and this is not your couch. My boss, God bless him, Ron, was just going, look, you need help. I was a mechanic at the time. He says, so leave your tools here, just go get help. Okay. So you know what I did that night? I went out and got another DUI. Yes. Now that would be an alcoholic for you. I know what to do. I'm just going to get toxic drunk, Oh my God. And that's the kind of thing where, you're an alcoholic when, because the following morning I get kicked out of another sheriff's station, coming to it going, this isn't my first DUI, this is like third. And I'm going, wow, you're burning everything to the ground. Anybody and anything that matters to you in your life, you are stomping on. And you're going to go do some time now. Even back then, it was 180 days, I think, for your third offense. And I'm just going, oh my God, I cannot believe I've done this. And the best, I swear to you, the best I could do that morning was sniff out a liquor store. And that's what I did. Not only to have my brother pick me up drunk on the grass in front of the sheriff's station. I just left there, for God's sake, So, yeah, I'm not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer. Just not, And the idea is that for so many years, man, okay, there's not many newcomers. There's some of you guys here that raise your hand. How many people are in their first year? Raise your hand. Bam! Okay, there's a bunch of you. Okay, cool. I get it. I just completely lost my train of thought. That train just, okay. So I just know that when I came in, I had the opportunity to do something about this disease. In my first year, I just go, I can't do this anymore. Maybe that's what got you here. Like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And by God, I'm not going to. Now, how am I going to prove that to my sponsor? I can't. That was between me and God, to my innermost self that I was a real alcoholic, chapter 3, That's exactly what was going on with me. And I knew, that's where I was going. I knew that at the moment I had a moment of clarity on the porch of Grandview, I saw hope. Who knows hopelessness? Who hasn't been in bed with hopelessness for a long time? That's right. Me too. When I saw that this power, greater than any human power, was not a theory, was not some just made up biblical God who's like basically he's got the scorecard out, he's got the pen, he's going, oh, Greg, there you go again. Demerit, hellbound, here we go, boom, 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 boom. And that's the way I thought. Does anybody have that feeling? He doesn't want anything to do with me because I've been too bad. I'm the worst human being that ever lived. I mean, I don't know if you ever thought that, but I did. You know, but when I saw that this God was real, and going back to this prayer, that I was not alone. This power had always been with me. If you ever read that thing called Footprints, I fully know what that meant at that moment. And I had the fellowship that I wasn't alone in this program of recovery, okay? The unity of the program. Because there was a group of people that would confirm my belief in a higher power, talks about it verbatim in the 12 and 12. Here's a group of people who have solved their alcoholic problem. Evidence. I need scientific proof, you know. Show me, God. You, God, you know, materialize quickly. You know, bullshit, right? He goes, oh yeah, all right, you know. Like I became an alcoholic and decided, okay, God, hook me up, make it all better. And then I sit on my dead ass and wait for stuff to happen, and nothing happens, and you're going, screw this faith business. It's a bunch of crap, right? Okay, well, this God dude is a two-way street guy. That's what I found out. In other words, he will take care of me, but I got to do my part. I got to take some action. And all it really involved for me at that time was doing something different than what I had been doing, because what I was doing did not work. It doesn't work today, okay? But I was willing to do it. Again, when the book talks about faced with alcoholic destruction, what was our choice to be, you know? Well, let me see, I could just, I could just just destroy myself, or maybe accept spiritual principles. Can I get back to you on that one? I mean, you know, God, do you think they knew the audience or what? You know, I mean, I just said, and it really wasn't more than just doing what the winners were doing. They said to me, Richard told me when I had 30 days sober, and I didn't think anybody would believe me, because I'd come to meetings either coming up or down off of something for 7 years, man, and you guys never kicked me out. And I guess I had a desire to have you sign my court card. I'll say that, but I mean, deep down in my heart, I had a desire to be like you, man. How come you're not getting loaded and you're okay? So I was in that place. And he said to me, what you got to do is, look, man, you have to make this, your sobriety must be the most important thing in your life, period. It's not negotiable. Greg went back very quickly, and all I did was I checked my track record. How's it going doing it your way? Bad. Okay, we're clear on that. So I'm going to do what you're doing. Okay, I just said, okay, you know, I'm in. Make my sobriety the most important thing in my life. Okay. You don't drink or use no matter what. You become a member of the no matter what club. Because no matter what happens, whatever problem I may have had or have to this day, there's no problem I may have that taking a drink won't make worse. And then on top of that, the problem's still there. So there's some fine thinking on my part. So I'm not going to do that. I take these principles into my life. I go to meetings. I work with others when I'm in a place where I can do it. I wasn't some 60-day wonder. Don't think I started sponsoring people. I had 2 or 3 years. Because back then they're going, we love you, but we really don't want what you have. And I'm like, okay. You know, again, I quit fighting because my alcoholic mind goes, I think I have quite a lot to offer. Thank you very much. And they're going, no, you don't, man. You're an idiot. But you're staying sober, and that's a good start. Just keep coming back. And I went, okay. They said, you're doing fine. You're right where you're supposed to be. God, I hate that line. And they're you know, and I'm just like, and they're just going, you're really growing quite a bit. And I said, I can't see it. So guess what? You guys are my growth monitors because I can't see it. And then there came times when I started to feel the benefits of these programs, this program and working these steps. I remember when I was talking to my sponsee, one of my sponsees yesterday, talking about how good he texts me today and says, my life is amazing. And I texted back, I said, yes, it is. And it keeps getting better. You know, I was talking to my friend Rob. I was at the Day to Time group on Friday night. And I was telling him, my life is so good, I just can't believe I'm sober. You know, I just go carrying on like this newly sober guy. My life is great. And I meant every word of it. And he goes, my life is so good. And he goes, you know what? And I go, what? And he goes, it gets better. And I think my head almost came off. I'm just like, no way. And he says, yeah, it gets better. He was right. He was absolutely right. It keeps getting better. And I'm testament to that, over 3 decades later. I've been sober over half my life, man. I got sober when I was 28, and I'm 60 now. And I would have never seen 60. No way, man. And I've used this program, these 12 steps, for so many different things. It's a different, you can use it for anything. These 12 steps work. Tomorrow, Greg willing, I know God is, I'll have a year without smoking cigarettes. That's a big deal. For me, it's huge, man. Because when you got the doctor, see, remember circumstance rather than virtue? When the doctor about a year ago was, hey, let's listen to your breathing. Oh my God, your breathing's terrible. I think you have COPD. Huh? Then she's like going, oh, by the way, I think you're pre-diabetic. What? Hey, let's check you for lung cancer. What? Welcome to life, man. All the stuff that I've done all these years starts catching up. I got good friends of mine, man, with all the Peruvian marching powder they did. Got serious cardiac problems. Serious. Just landed Tim in the hospital 3 or 4 times. I love him, man. And and it's not that big of a deal because it is what it is. I'm not going to sit there and wander around morbidly in the past like it talks about in the 10th step. It's like, I need to get into action now. Because what do I have? Like the people used to tell me, all you have to do is do this program a day at a time. Can you do that? Yeah, I can do that a day at a time. What am I given? Really, truthfully, a moment at a time. When you get down to it, my friend Bill Ward, Bill W., he would say to us at the meetings, he'd say, friends, I have no idea what's going to happen next. I don't even know if I'm getting home from this meeting. And it's the truth. It really is the truth. So really all we have, when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of the whole cha-cha here, is right now. Right here, right where we are. And right now, right here, right where we are, ain't bad, man. There's no Prescott is a safer place because we're here, because we're all sober, right? Can you imagine if all of us went out at once? Oh, I mean, God, you better get SWAT in here really quick, man. I mean, it's like, oh Lord, so we're right here, right now. Things are pretty good. I don't really want anything right now. My life is really complete. I've got my wife and I. We're coming up on 24 years of marriage. That's amazing, folks. Let me tell you, I was like, I was a 3-year kid. I'm telling you, I'm out. I'm a runner. I don't know about you, but I am a runner. And how much time do I have? A couple minutes? Yeah. I'll talk about being married. Oh my God. How about like when it talks about relationships? It says, our primary problem is that our primary what does it say? Total inability to form a true partnership with another human being. We've been especially stupid and stubborn about relationships. I don't know about you, but man, I signed up for that without even knowing I signed up for it. And through therapy and a bunch of different things, we ended up getting married. And then my wife said she was diagnosed with cancer. This is back in 2000. No, this was about 99, I think it was, when you were diagnosed. And I had to do stuff like, the doctor that diagnosed her gave me the diagnosis that she does in fact have a synovial cell sarcoma on a voicemail. A voicemail. My alcoholic mind says, I'm going to find you. You know what I mean? I don't know about you, but I got this really devious mind. So I had to go home and tell her, which she already knew, but just because her intuition told her. And we had to go through this thing, and I'm a runner, and then my brother came in who's a sober man. I was just going, hey, I didn't sign up. We hadn't even been married 3 years, and it's like, you got what? And what are you trying to teach me? I'm out. My brother said, remember these little pesky things you took called vows, wedding vows? I went, I forgot. And I did. Like I said, I'm not exactly the sharpest guy. And I said, okay, it's the same thing. It's like, that wedding vow, solemn promise, you know, I said, I'm in, man. And we went through this thing together, and it was really cool because despite everything that was going on, having to shave her head and stuff like that, I mean, you know, I can't do that without this program of recovery. I cannot do these things without a power greater than any human power working in my life. I will run. I will drink at that stuff. You know, watch my little brother suddenly die. I watched being there when my mom died. All these different things that I've had to do during my recovery have all been by the grace and mercy of a very loving God, you know. Grace, man, unmerited favor. And I'm getting this stuff to this very second. It just keeps getting better. I just keep practicing these principles to the best of my ability. You know, there's so much I could talk about. But really, when it boils down to anytime I have a problem with this program of recovery, my experience has been that it's always the first step. I don't think my life's unmanageable anymore. I think I got this thing. I think I don't need you anymore. Maybe I'm not an alcoholic or an addict after all. And off I go again, find myself in the same damn place again, beating myself. How did I let this go? How did this happen? God, not again, right? I mean, does that sound familiar? That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. I'm not going to do that again, especially when this program tells me that if I practice these principles as a way of life, the obsession to drink or use drugs is expelled. It is literally gone from my life, and it enables me, the sufferer, to become happily and usefully whole. That's a promise, folks. That's a promise. That's a guarantee. I'm in. I'm in, man. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Thoroughly have we seen a person fail who has rarely followed our path. And that's just the truth. It's just the truth. You know, so I've never, once I found out talking to another alcoholic and listening to you guys, I saw the true nature of my malady. I could never be the same again. The war is over and I lost. And it's okay because by my surrender, I went to the winning side. And I'm at the winning side right now, you know, because of these principles that I take into my life, just to the best of my abilities for the day I'm in, which is like right now, right? And I work with others, and I go to meetings and try to help the next suffering alcoholic. I try to stay in action. So what that means now is when we go back to that prayer, it might make a little more sense. I have no idea where I'm going. I don't even know the road ahead of me. I can't know for certain where it's going to end, nor do I really know who the hell I am anyway. And the fact that I think I'm following you does not mean that I'm actually doing that. But I do believe that I have a desire to please you, and that it in fact does please you. I believe that in my heart of hearts. I hope I never, I always persist in doing this for the best of my ability, just for the day I'm in. And I know that if I do this, you'll lead me by the right road. It's never failed me, ever, 100%. Though I may know nothing about it at the time. Therefore, I'm going to trust you to the best of my ability. And though I seem to be the last and in this, I seem to be in the last and lost in the shadow of death, I'll never be afraid because I know you will never leave me to face my troubles all alone. My Creator won't leave me, and He speaks through you. I'm never alone. This thing works just like the shortest sentence in the big book. It works. It really does. Thanks, folks. I got some of these cards up here if you'd like some. God bless you all. Take care.
So let's thank Greg one more time.